Before we get there, we are going to reveal our spotlight games for week 8 of Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight. And I think every single week we always say, it's some of the best games in the state, no doubt about it. I'm not joking this time. The slate of spotlight games that we have on Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight is incredible. We'll get to that in just a second.
I honestly think that this might be the best slate of games that we have had all season. By far.
By far.
It's so great.
We've had really good ones, and I think that we've probably had one or two that could get somewhat close. But, I mean, this slate is incredible.
Yeah.
So, I guess with that being said, let's get into it. Starting off with our 2 games that are happening tonight. We have games happening tonight on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. You can watch these games on Texan Live tonight. We start off with Bryan and Pflugerville Weiss. So Weiss kind of snuck up on people this year. The 18th ranked team in 6A. This one a District 12 6A matchup down there at 7 o'clock from the Pflugerville Field.
Do they call it the field?
Yeah.
But they have
the Field. Yes.
I love that. That's so cool.
Bryan head coach Ricky Tulos they're going to have the work cut out for him, trying to take down the 18th ranked team in the state. Definitely the team that looks to be pulling away in that district. Weiss, one of the very few number of 7-0 teams. But for Weiss, Vernon Hughes has their guys rolling. Quarterback Jax Brown has looked really good. The defense is led by Peyton Morgan. He has looked outstanding at free safety. 6 interceptions already on the season. So that's going to be the big test. This is a Bryan team that's going in there that I don't think will be able to pull out the win, but it would be a big shock if they could get this done. You can see how that shapes out. They're a really good team, though. Mm-hmm. A really good team that's going to go on the road knowing for a fact that they could shock the state if they do this. So very interested to see that one. EJ Sanchez will have that on the call. If you can't watch it tonight, you can go to Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight on tomorrow and catch the full recap version of that. Should have thought about this when we were naming the show. Anyway, moving on to the second game that's happening tonight. Let's talk about the number 1 team in 6A, the Duncanville Panthers, taking on district foe, the Mansfield. What are they? The Tigers? Yeah, that makes sense. That looks like a tiger. All the big cats. Really, a fantastic logo matchup here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live on air. Thank you. As our sales guy tries to peek into what we're doing in the studio. But Duncanville has separated themselves from the pack. No doubt. I think that win over Waxahachie was huge last week. They have obviously the big one coming up in week 10 against DeSoto. That'll be likely to decide the district. But this is a Mansfield team that only has 2 losses on the season. They dropped an ugly one to Cedar Hill last week. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there were injuries involved. But this Mansfield team is a complete team, and so I'll be interested to see, again, how much this gap is between Duncanville and the rest of the field.
Yeah, seems like it's a little bit too large, but it'll be a good test for him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's week 8, though. That's a lot of play.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fatigue, injury prone, all of that. It's like, man, we'll see.
It's district play. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. Moving on now to our Friday spotlight games, and this is where more cats, lots of cats. This is where the fireworks factory starts, and it's all on Friday. Starting off with a heated district rivalry down there out of District 15 6A as the Tomball Cougars take on their district rival, the Tomball Memorial Wildcats in Tomball, Texas, at Tomball ISD Stadium. Sean Bajani is going to be joining us at halftime of this one. Kickoff is at 7. But this one is very important for seeding. We're at that point in the year where there are districts like this one that, like, the first 4 or first 5 or the first 6 are genuinely all going to be battling for a district championship, seeding in the playoffs. There are others that it's like, okay, there's maybe 1 or 2 teams in the district that are going back and forth. But this one is absolute chaos down there in 15-6A between Klein Collins, Tomball, Klein Kane, and Memorial. Tomball still has all three of those to go as well. You want to talk about a backloaded schedule. This is the start of Murderer's Row there for the Cougars, but Tomball Memorial is going to have to stop Tomball's rushing attack. Kobe Fisher has looked outstanding. Memorial very well balanced on offense. Their junior quarterback, Aiden Martin, we've heard a lot about him, and we've talked a lot about him on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. I think he's starting to put Harris County on the map a little bit down there. He looks like he's developing into a really special talent.
Tomball Memorial, too, coming off of a kind of a strange loss last week, too, to Klein Collins. That was one of Tepper's spotlight games that he picked for the picks video, and he outright picked Tomball Memorial to win that game. So maybe a little bit shaken up there. We'll see. And again, anything can happen in district. This is just a known long-time rivalry, too. I think Tomball last year got the win over Tomball Memorial, but you just never know.
Yeah, you really don't, and that's actually what knocked that loss to Klein Collins, pushed Collins into the rankings for the first time this season and dropped Tomball Memorial out of it.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it interesting, because realistically speaking, Tomball could be in for a long night if Tomball Memorial has that we want revenge, not necessarily, one, from last year, two, from their performance last week.
Right.
So very, very interested to see how this one gets out. I think we'll have a lot of answers in the first quarter, but incredibly enticing district matchup that will definitely shape the playoff picture down there in District 15-6A. Moving on down, we're staying in the greater Houston area, but let's talk some small school ball, shall we? Anahuac, the Panthers, more cats, taking on their district rival out of District 10 3A Division 1 in the East Chamber Buccaneers. That one, 7:30 p.m. kick from Buccaneer Stadium in Winnie, Texas. Our friends at Anahuac Sports are going to be broadcasting that game for us, Trent Hart and his entire crew, so we're incredibly thankful and happy to have them down there to help cover this one. The Swamp Bowl, as they're calling it. Greg Neese is trying to make Anahuac another contender down there in Region 3. They had a really, really good year last year, a couple of back-to-back 9-3 seasons, which from a program that was down in the dumps for quite a while, they knew that this was going to be the year. Sophomore quarterback Brady Barrier has been proving that he's the truth. We saw his flash last year as a freshman and was like, okay, was that a freshman frenzy or was he going to be able to keep that up? And he's looked really, really good. The thing about this one is it's, in my mind, going to come down to Anahuac's defense because they are pretty susceptible to letting the points kind of get away from them. They can outscore a lot of people, but the issue with that one is East Chambers can also outscore a bunch of people. Hayden Reeves, their senior running back, has just been rushing past people left and right all season long. And honestly, East Chambers defense makes me kind of nervous too. So I think this is going to be a really high-scoring affair with the winner being decided by whose defense is able to make just a couple of crucial stops when they need it the most. So excited for that small school ball. Let's now matriculate up I-35. We're heading all the way up to the greater Waco. Ooh, no, we're not. I had that wrong. Let's stay down in the greater Houston area for the undisputed game of the week. I don't think that there's any argument from anybody, if you follow Texas high school football from a statewide perspective, that this is the game that everyone should have their eyes on this week. There's a lot of good games, but it does not get better than this. The number 2 ranked Columbus Cardinals taking on their district foe out of 12-3 Division 1 in the 4th ranked, my beloved Hitchcock Bulldogs.
Your beloved Hitchcock Bulldogs.
My darling team. They've been my darling team since last year, but Coach Schobel did send me a really awesome Columbus hat over the offseason, so this one's pulling on my heartstrings in lot of different ways. I love me some Schobels, and I love Hitchcock, so I'm very, very conflicted when it comes to this, and I also love 3 Division 1. There's no denying that. So this game is like my Super Bowl.
It is.
So Bulldog Stadium down there in Hitchcock, Texas. Gavin Moritz will be on the call joining us at halftime. I know he's very excited. That's a 7 o'clock kick. You can watch that game in full on TexanLive.com, but we'll definitely be checking into it on Texas Football Tonight. But I mean, it's just a rock fight. You know, I think that this is going to be the first big test for Columbus's defense that they've really had to face, because they're going to be going up against Lloyd Jones and the just plethora of talent they have on their offensive skill players. Columbus is really big up top, like up front. I think that the line play is going to determine a lot of this game.
Will, yes.
But we're going to find out how good both of these defenses are in this game. But this is, I mean, offensive firepower, good defenses, really good
great
trench
quarterback
play.
matchup too.
Yeah, it's just between Adam Schobel, who's just been lighting it up for Columbus, and then Lloyd Jones. It's just going to be everything that we hope for. I don't see any way that this is a blowout either way.
No, I don't think so. It might be a shootout, but it might not. It might not be a blowout.
But blowout, exactly, 110%. So game of the week on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. Up next.
Now moving up.
Let's head on up. All the way up to the greater Waco area as the 5th-ranked China Spring Cougars out of 4A Division I in District 5 take on their district rival in the Waco La Vega Pirates. This rocks. It just rocks. I love this matchup for so many different reasons. I'm skeptical of China Spring's defense still a little bit, especially going up against Waco La Vega, but I feel like it's funny because it's opposite sides. The best matchup to watch here is the China Spring offense versus the Waco La Vega defense. The La Vega defense has been outstanding so far this year with Kobe Black and all the things that they bring to the table. And then the China Spring offense has been, they have not stopped.
Connolly.
Cash McCollum, their core of wide receivers, they've got a good run game this year. I think that it's fun, and the best thing about this is that entire district to me is an absolute coin flip because between China Spring, Waco La Vega, and Stephenville, I think that at any day those are a coin flip because at times China Spring has looked like the China Spring we've seen the past 2 years that they've won the state championship. At time they look like they've lost some players. Waco La Vega does really, really well one week. It's not as good the next week. Stephenville has been the exact same thing.
Alvarado's 5-2 as well.
Yeah,
like,
and
it's
that's
just a
that
gauntlet of a district.
Absolutely, and that's the thing about Alvarado is I think that they are very much like the 4th best team in this district, but Alvarado has a knack for picking up one statewide shocker every single year. They did it last year to Stephenville. At Stephenville, they have every right. But that's where I feel a lot more confident than I did prior to last week about China Spring. Because China Spring played Alvarado last year, and they did what they needed to do. That had China Spring losing that game written all over it in my mind just because, like I said, Alvarado has that knack. It was at home. It just felt... No, it was on the road. It was on the road, and it just felt like a dicey thing that they were going to be looking ahead going, we have Waco, La Vega, and Stephenville back-to-back weeks. Let's not worry about Alvarado. And they went out there and they took care of business, and I feel much better about China Spring heading into this week than I did at this point last week. Yeah. But that being said, Waco, La Vega, always a team that could give them fits. They'll be going on the road to La Vega. That's not easy either in Don Hyde's house, so we'll see. But we're very excited to have Drake Toll and Cameron Stewart join us at half to hear kind of how that's breaking down. Moving on once again, how about up to the DFW as we head to Allen versus number 13 McKinney, and this one is fun for so many different reasons. The last time that the McKinney Lions beat Allen was in 1999. I put it on Twitter. Mallory was about 9 months old at that point.
Yeah, not even a year.
Not even a year. I literally put Mallory was a 1-year-old, and I thought about it, and I was like, well, no, her birthday's in December, so she would have been probably about 9 months old. But that game ended 6-0. But that was the last time that McKinney. And then there's always the added bonus, too, of McKinney head coach Marcus Shavers was an Allen alum. He's been there for 5 years now and has never once beat Allen under his tenure. Obviously, he hasn't been there since 1999. But this one is just fun. I think we thought last year that McKinney had the possibility to win this game. It didn't end up happening. It was a really close loss for McKinney, but this is one that going into the game, McKinney's favored by the computer to win this game, and I don't think that there's any reason that they shouldn't be favored. Between the offensive weapons that they have, I think that they are going to expose Allen's defensive backs. I think that's where this game is won, is a couple of long explosive plays by McKinney is going to be too much barring for the Allen secondary to handle.
I just think McKinney's got way too many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball to fall behind to this Allen defense. It's just not going to happen, I think, this year.
No, I completely agree. So that one should be fun. We're excited for that. Ryan Fox and Colin Brown on the call and will be joining us at Mallory and her little DFW crew. Gavin doesn't get a woo, but the DFW crew does.
Yes. Here's another one of my crews up next.
Yes, another one. Finally, rounding out this unbelievable list of spotlight games. I am so stinking excited for this. And it's so funny because usually I would be more excited for this game than anything. And then Hitchcock Columbus came up. But how about this? Another 3A Division I matchup. I have completely taken over, and we're a 3A Division I show at this point. Y'all can't stop me. You've let me too far loose. But a fantastic district matchup out of 5-3A D1 as the 9th-ranked Pottsboro Cardinals take on the 5th-ranked Windsor Raiders. This one will be 7 o'clock p.m. from Red Rider Stadium. James Tritley and Alex Weister on the call.
Yay.
Are they going to yay? I thought they were going to get a woo. But this one's fun. It's a battle of unbeatens. That's something to be said, too. A battle of unbeatens in the 4-3-0 with a... I think I just short-circuited. Anyway, this one is fun because Major McBride has been unbelievable for Pottsboro. He's averaging like 238 yards rushing per game, and that's what their entire offense is based out of. I feel like when you take a look back a handful of years ago at Pottsboro, we always expected them to be really high-flying. You know, they're going to hit you with the deep ball. It has completely shifted the tides, and they are all about the ground and pound run game. And the reason that makes this matchup so fun is because this is a Windsboro defense that through 6 games has only given up an average of 8 points a game.
Yeah,
this Windsboro defense has looked the part, and they have been the key catalyst that has gotten them to this point to get them up to number 5 in the rankings. But the other side of it is they've got a really good quarterback. Kyler Finney has been outstanding. The coach's kid is letting her rip on the offense. So I think that this is another one that it should be a high scoring affair. A really tough rushing attack from Pottsboro and a better in-the-air game for Windsboro. But whose defense is going to stop it? And as of right now, it's been Windsboro.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
If they can crank out Pottsboro, the key for Pottsboro on this game is going to be running the clock down. Like, you do not want to give Windsboro the chance to score quickly and your defense have to be back out on the field. So that's going to be the biggest thing is Pottsboro is going to want to take this ball, give it to Major McBride, and just let him crank out those yards, long extended drives. And Windsboro's defense is going to want to force some turnovers to get the ball back into their offensive hand. But very, very excited for that one. So go ahead.
I love that we have two games of 3 Division I matchups. Both are in the same district, and both teams are ranked. So Pottsboro and Windsboro, and then
we have 3.
Columbus and Hitchcock.
And East Chambers and Anahuac. They're 3A Division I too.
Yeah, but they're not ranked.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they're in the same, like, both teams are in the same district and ranked.
Got it.
State
I see
ranked,
what you're saying.
which I think is... I just think that's cool. Within the same district, having 2 teams, like, state ranked.
Yeah, and that's 4 teams out of the top 10.
Especially, and that's what I was going to say, too. Like, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, that's 40% of the ranked teams.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that is cool. So there you go. We weren't kidding. An unbelievable slate of games on TexanLive.com this entire weekend. So you can obviously watch those games in full, but we highly encourage you, if you're going to do that, go ahead and double screen it and put Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight on, because then you'll be able to keep up with all the rest of those games. It's a NFL red zone style show. We bounce around. We'll be talking to people. We've got different feature stories. It is a lot of fun. Not to mention, Greg Powers on the desk as the analyst this week. So we are incredibly excited to talk to him, because there is always a very good amount of recruiting knowledge to be dropped there. So there you go.